Today on episode 247 of Typical Chicago Fans, we have Sinkers and Floaters, the TCF Sports Minute, our college campus tour, new team builder, an NFL playoff minute, and the TCF top three of waters. Let's roll. Hello and welcome back to Typical Chicago Fans, brought to you by our incredible sponsor, Connect Roasters Coffee. Today is episode 247. It is our first episode of 2025. We know it's already January 25th. It's been a very busy month for both of us, but we are back. Make sure you check out the TikTok. I'm posting a TikTok every day with some Chicago sports history. I believe it's Typical Chicago Fan.
I think so. I'm locked out.
Type in Typical Chicago Fans. You'll find us there. I promise you that. But we've got a little bit of everything today, so make sure you check us out on X at Typical_Chicago, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm actually going to be recording today's TikTok right after we get done here. So make sure you go check that out. Little Chicago, little Illinois sports history. Hope you guys like that. You can head on over to our YouTube page for all of our content in video form. Make sure you hit the red subscribe button on there. Wherever you get your podcast, make sure you follow, subscribe, rate, review, send to a friend, 5 stars, whatever you can, wherever you get your podcast. We are there. You can find me on X at Boomy TCF, and of course, Zach at Z Lilia TCF. Zach, it's been a little over a month since our last show. How you been, my man?
Good. Everything from the flu and everything that comes after that. So we haven't been doing much with it, but Boomy's been busy with basketball, and January is just a crazy month for everybody. So we're back for 2025. We're going to hopefully be doing these every week. We got baseball coming up here soon. We got football coming to an end here soon. Basketball, it's really kind of starting to become NBA season now.
College basketball season, my boy.
And but yeah, the flu, we'll go into more of that sinker, but it just seems like everybody's got it.
It sucks. We always do talk about the weather. I'm going to knock on wood before I say this. It's been a very, very mild winter so far. And I said this, and you're not going to like this, but if it can just make it to like March, I don't care if it snows every day of March, just get me through the end of February, obviously because of basketball season in this mild winter. After the end of February, after my season's over, our season is done, I don't care what happens, but let's just keep this mild winter going because it's almost February and we've had like 2 snow and like 1 really cold day.
Yeah, we had a few cold days, but like today was like 45 degrees.
Yeah.
We haven't really had
Big fan of that.
Amount of snow.
Big fan of that. So let's just keep that rolling. Let's jump into things, sinkers and floaters. I'm going to get started with my sinker here. And a lot of times for these weird, wacky stories that I get from what is called AP Oddities. It's the Associated Press. They have a Twitter page called AP Oddities, and that's where all these weird stories, that from all around the world that show up. AP Oddities, I don't know. I need to do a little more research. Has been discontinued. They have not tweeted or put anything on X. I don't know if there's something going on with X, but they haven't put anything out since October 29th, and it's coming a lot harder to find stories here lately.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff like that has kind of come to an end. A lot of apps are going to an end. Like even with TikTok, I can't download it. For some reason, I thought it'd be smart to delete it because I just didn't know. And then
you do have to say, though, because I did the same thing, but because I have an Android, there's a thing called Galaxy Store. It was not in the Google Play Store, but because it was for some reason in the Galaxy Store, I was able to get TikTok back.
It's weird an app that's still going is not available in the store.
Yeah.
But it seems like the numbers are also kind of down on that.
Yeah.
Because of that fact of I don't think that people can download it. But yeah. Your stories are done with now. So your sinker, your source for sinkers is now your sinker.
If we ever bring back the Boomy's Wacky Web Story, I'm going to have to do a lot deeper. I would say when we did those on the Daily Show, I was probably like 90% of the stories I would get were from AP Oddities.
Well, I guess now on Twitter, you can just go on there and you'll find a crazy story. So
Yes, absolutely.
You can use Facebook maybe.
That's true. That is true. What's your sinker this week, buddy?
It's the flu. It seems like everybody's got it. Everyone's got it at least once or twice. I pretty much got it twice. I got the flu, and then I got like a head cold kind of thing. And it seems like it just sticks around forever. Your appetite's hard to get back and stuff like that. It's just an awful time of year to get it too, but it seems like everybody's getting it. I was at the doctor the other day and they asked if I wanted the flu shot. I said no because I thought I just had it. So I don't really understand why I need it again, but probably should have got it. But yeah, the flu, Boomy knows that with what he does. Everybody's been sick.
I was going to add to that, more so my basketball players than my students, but there's like this weird, like reoccurring thing, right? It goes away and then it comes back like 3 days later. And I think that's kind of what you had dealt with different symptoms. But it's like, it's taking forever to get through people. And then when it does, it seems like it's like rearing its ugly head again. And then it's like, I think I'm feeling better.
I actually got the day of Christmas. I got home thinking, I just ate too much at Christmas, whatever. And the next night was bad.
Yeah. Yep. Not fun. That's what I've been very fortunate. I'm knocking on wood as I say this. I got a real bad sinus headache last night, but I think I got that under control. So, but like I said, after basketball season, just get me through the rest of basketball season, to be completely honest with you.
Sometimes I think like with what you do, you kind of just go into a mode where you almost just, you try not to even think about getting sick.
Yeah, well, and not even that, dude. Like my first couple years, like my 2 years at Earlville and my first 2 years in LaSalle, so my first 4 years of teaching, I got the flu every year, and it was one I'll never forget. It was we were taking engagement pictures at Starved Rock, and we didn't even end up using them because I was just a corpse. I remember coming home. We had gotten like those gourmet cupcakes in Utica, couldn't even eat those, just went in our bedroom, laid down and curled up into a ball and slept for like 7 hours. But ever since my 4th year of teaching, I haven't gotten anything like insanely bad. Like I've gotten a couple colds here and there, probably had the flu, but also like you build up an immunity that maybe it just doesn't.
Like your immune system is probably just like you've had every germ.
Yeah. Yep. That's the hope, man. That's the hope. I'm sure this will come back and I'll be a corpse next week. Yeah, exactly. My floater this week is Surviving Barstool. It's a show on YouTube. Obviously, most people here have heard of Barstool, but they do a reality show with all their people that work there. And I have never, Survivor started when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I've never seen an episode of Survivor, not a single one, never cared about it. Me and the wife decided that would be our after our son goes to sleep show, and they are long episodes, but we have been burning through them. I feel like poor Zach gets a text from me every night asking questions or complaining about something. But if you're looking for something to kind of get you through the rest of the winter and you're a Barstool fan at all, or just like funny people doing silly stuff, check it out. It is worth the watch. It's like 15 episodes. They're about an hour each. But yeah, we've been burning through it, and we've actually already come up with our plan. We're going to go watch this is season 4. We're going to go back and watch the first 3 seasons, even though we have a pretty good idea on who's won those seasons. So it's been very entertaining.
They are re-releasing the 3rd season on YouTube because when they first did it, they did it on Barstool TV only. So actually, they've dropped like maybe a few episodes of it already, but
that makes sense why I was seeing that.
Like how they kind of did the release of this episodes, they're doing like next week they're going to be dropping 1 episode a day or something.
Perfect.
Of the whole season, because they're not on YouTube. The first 2 seasons are, but the 3rd season was not on YouTube because I don't know if they were trying to make money on it or something. Yeah. But it was on Barstool TV, so that
makes sense.
Going to work in your favor.
That makes sense. That's perfect because we've got I think we just finished episode 12, so we got 3 episodes left, and then I noticed that season 3 kept popping up with a new tag on it on YouTube. So it's like the perfect mindless reality show entertainment.
Yeah, Boomy will text me like randomly. I'm like, oh, I guess he's on this episode now.
Yeah, so, you knew it when I texted you about the one, and you were like, oh, you're on the Pink Wedding episode. It was perfect how you knew that.
Yeah, they're fun, but man, that's gotta be so stressful to do.
I couldn't do it. I would crack. I'm not
And
built for that.
if you watch this, there are people who work together. You see why you would do it with people who you have no idea who they are.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't do a lot of those things to my friends.
No, then you have to go work with those people. That'd be insane.
Yep. Absolutely. What's your floater, buddy?
Daylight. We are in the spot where we are. The days are getting longer in the way of the sun.
Yep. We have survived the shortest days of the year season.
That's just the worst part of the year. All we can think about now is in a few months here, we'll be on the golf course at 8:00 at night, 8:30, and it'll still be light out. But yeah, this time of year with the darkness and stuff, it just sucks.
Yes, I saw someone had posted that on Facebook, and I'm very, very fortunate getting to coach basketball that I'm in a gym most of the winter. But I have noticed that we've been practicing at like 5:00 at night, and granted, I get there at like 4:15. But it's like there was those nights in early January, late December. I'm like, dude, it's dark at 4:00. Like at least that's what it felt like. It's just brutal. I don't understand how people just deal with that.
Stay up for the next 5 hours before you go to bed, but it's just like this sucks.
Yeah, we're definitely. I mean, we're definitely indoorsy type of guys, but like we also enjoy a lot of outdoor activities. So we're kind of like in between, like
you go from golfing every day to it's dark at 4, 5 o'clock at night, and it's just a different. And it's just hard to find stuff to do.
Yeah,
I mean, you got coaching or whatever, but there ain't much to do around here other than bowl and. That's about it.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. Let's jump into our TCF Sports Minute. A lot to cover here. We haven't talked, like Zach said, since December 22nd. So let's get started with the Bears. Big offseason moves. Bring in Ben Johnson. Sounds like a lot of new faces. Kind of sounds like Dennis Allen's going to be the DC. They hired Antoine Randall, former Chicago product, Harvey Thornton.
And Jacoby Brissett.
Yep. So bringing in a lot of guys that have been around. Yes. Grade your offseason so far.
I mean, it sounds crazy, but like a B plus A, because you got to think you got the guy you wanted. I'm not saying
you got the guy everybody wanted.
Yeah. And he could maybe be a failure or he may not work out, but in the moment you did what you had to do. You spent the money, you got who you needed, and you're in the right. You got the guy that Caleb wanted, and it looks good. They finally did the right thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what Warren did to get the money, but he probably begged the McCaskies because I think he's making like $13 million a year, which is unheard of.
Does that worry you at all? That's a lot of money out of a franchise that doesn't like to spend money. Does that make you worry they're not going to be active in free agency? I don't know if there's any.
I don't really know if there's much free agency there. I'm really more worried about the draft and what they're going to do that way. I've heard there's a lot of speculation that they might go with Genty, which
I think that's a bad idea.
Want, because I'm not saying he's going to be good, but that's not what we need.
Yeah, you need here. Do you want me? Can I be a meathead Packer fan for a minute?
Sure.
Okay. So I think you guys. No, stop. I've been very nice to the Bears, all right? I don't want to kick people while they're down, all right? And you guys have been down a lot. All right, so I think you made the right hire. I said this the day they hired Ben Johnson when I texted you. The typical Bears hire would have been Mike McCarthy. This would have been John Fox 2.0. That would have been the typical Bears hire. They go outside the box, right? They get their box. They did what a smart organization should do. Here's where I'm going to be a meathead Packers fan. They have to do something with that offensive line because that offensive line from Detroit is not walking through the doors at Hallis Hall. If they can get some semblance of an offensive line, they have to revamp that first. They have to revamp the running back room because Ben Johnson made a killing because that offensive line was arguably the best in the NFL, which the Bears do not have.
No. They're going to have to go through the draft, and there's really not much to free agency in the NFL. It's not like it's crazy.
But you
it's
got to be
either
smart. You got to pick up those guys that have been discarded or can't be paid from somebody else because they're over the cap or whatever. And you've got to go find a guy that can plug and play right away. Because, like I've said it a million times, I think Caleb Williams, as of right now, is the second best player in that draft, and easily could be the first if everything works out the way it can. But he is still going to be running for his life if they don't fix that first. I think next they have to fix the running back room, because if you look at what Ben Johnson did in Detroit, so much of it was reliant on David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs and Jameson. Right?
You kind of figured out here in the last 2 years is like you don't need to make a crazy splash on a running back.
You just got to do it smart.
2 to 3 guys that you think can feed off of each other. You know,
yes.
I mean, no, not everyone's going to have a Saquon or Derrick Henry.
Right.
Sometimes,
but if you can plug in a guy like David Montgomery with a younger guy like Jameer Gibbs,
but they got to go offensive line, defensive line, and I mean that's it. But it's the first time in how many years that they haven't gone into a draft thinking, do we need a quarterback?
Yes, absolutely.
Finally, even every year with Justin Fields, you still thought, well, if we're in the right spot, maybe we'll get a quarterback. And
look where you were at last year with Justin Fields. I mean, even then before with Mitch Trubisky and the whole Justin Fields thing. I like I said, I think the Bears made the right pick. They just have to now transform that. Not even transform, that's the wrong word. Parlay that with smart choices and smart additions on the offensive line, the running back room. I think there's some gaps in the defense, and I worry that the defense is going to decline a little bit because you have such an offensive-minded head coach. But that could just be dumb.
When you think about it, whatever you want to say about it, it's still a team that lost 10 games in a row.
Yeah.
And I know some of the games were wild endings, but still, they're still a team that lost a lot of games and didn't play well at certain spots. And as much as you want to blame the coach, when the coach got fired, they still weren't that good. So
I'm going to call my shot now, and this is coming from a guy who's not even a Bears fan. If Abdul Carter from Penn State is available, probably I think the best defensive or the best edge rusher in the draft, you have to take Abdul Carter. I get that. We've just sat here and talked how long about them needing offensive line help. If he's not available, I don't think he will be. I think he's going to go higher. If Abdul Carter is not available, you have to draft offensive line here.
Because the thing that the Bears have is they don't need a quarterback, in the fact of most of the teams in the top 10 need a quarterback, or at least top 5. So you're not going to be losing players that you want quickly. So it's in Green Bay, isn't it?
Yeah, Titletown.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It was kind of different.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm excited to see what the Packers will do with that. That is a really cool area.
As much as I don't like the Packers, they have a cool area around it. So
yes, they've done a really good job with that. Anything else on the Bears before we move on, buddy?
Well, I'm so tired of hearing about the stadium. We're doing nothing with the stadium. There's not even no process of it. And everyone that wants to talk about it, it's like, even if you did something, it's still so far away, especially if it's going to be in the city. That's just forever away.
Yeah. Yep. My son is almost 2 years old, and I feel like by the time the Bears finally get this figured out, he'll be able to drive to the game.
Yeah, when he's a fan of them.
No, that's never going to happen. He's unfortunately, he's been spending way too much time with my dad and brother, and is somehow becoming a Rams fan. So I got to put a stop to that here.
You can't have him. I know they were in St. Louis then, but you can't have him like a team in Los Angeles.
Yeah, because then he's gonna be a Rams fan, and then he's gonna be like, "Hey, these Dodgers are kind of good," and then I'll have to disown him. I can't do that.
I like the Rams, but once Stafford's gone, they're gonna have a problem.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. You know who has a major problem? The Blackhawks. They still stink. It's been a month since our last show, and they're still awful. 15, 28, and 5. They have 35 points. They have the second worst points in the NHL, and they're only one ahead of last place. Like, what do you do here?
Is time running out for this
GM? Yeah.
They did get a draft pick back that they had traded, which is kind of funny. But at this point, they're just trying to get maybe some guys out there who haven't played much in the NHL and see what they can do. Colton Dak, he got his first career goal. You're hoping for stuff like that, but I don't really understand hockey enough to know if you can rebuild quickly. But you just don't want to waste Connor Bedard.
Yeah. Yep. And I'll say this, Kyle Davidson was hired almost 3 years ago to be the GM, and it has gone very poorly, to say the least. Like, how long are we going to let this? I don't get me wrong. I don't think all of this is on him, but this team has been a bottom 3 team every year he's been the general manager, and it doesn't seem to have a light at the end of the tunnel. So do we need to start having this conversation about getting rid of the GM? Because we're approaching the 3-year anniversary of it, and it's been a disaster.
And the Blackhawks are almost the same problem that the Bulls used to have. Is, I mean, you're still selling out. I mean, there's still people love to go to the Blackhawks games, and it's just.
I mean, look, I'm wearing a hat right now.
Yeah, they're still fun to watch in a way, but it's just like you want to see Connor Bedard, and he's been playing a lot better. He didn't start the season very well, but it's one of those things. There's really no, like you said, no light at the end of the tunnel, and there's not like there's a bunch of stuff to get.
Yeah. They're so far away, so far, and it doesn't feel great because I follow the Ice Hawks and they're awful as well. So,
yeah, that's never good. But yeah, it's gonna be the problem is you win all these Stanley Cups and then you get in this mode of I want to win all these Stanley Cups, and then now it's been 10 years since the last Stanley Cup.
It's just not realistic anymore. You know, it seems.
Unfortunately, organizations live off of those, and the Blackhawks, even during it all, weren't the greatest run team of all time. They got kind of lucky with Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, and then they had Hossa and stuff like that, and Shaw. Yep. They kind of got lucky. I don't think that they really built a team.
There's definitely something to be said about them drafting those two in the free agency pickups.
But even you look back now, there were so many problems within that organization during a run where they won 3 titles in 5 years.
Yeah, a lot of scumbaggery too.
When you go through a dynasty like that, you want to come out the other way and say, hey, this was fun, but now you can almost look back at it and you can't bring Quinville back. I mean, stuff like that. It's just kind of almost like you don't even think about it anymore.
Yep, exactly. A little bit more positive, but not great. The Bulls, 19-26. They lose to the 76ers tonight, who are awful.
They suck at the end of games. Suck.
Yes.
They can't. The 76ers are not a good team. I know they had Tyrese Maxey back, but I mean, they're not good at home. You just got off the road and you had a few days off, and then you go and do that. I mean, it's just they had a chance, and at the end of the game, they had probably, I think, 17, 18 turnovers. It's like, what? Yeah. That's just awful.
Right now they're the 10 seed somehow because
the problem is they don't have a point guard.
Yes.
There's no real point guard. You can't have Zach LaVine bringing the ball up.
There's so many holes there. There's so many holes. The problem is, Zach, here we're sitting and this team's awful at basketball, and they're 4 games out of the 6th seed.
See, that's what's the East is awful, and it's so top heavy too. It's like Celtics, Cavs, Bucks, and then nobody.
Yep, it is. It's not like they're going to end up in the play-in tournament and same old
basketball. Former Bull Jimmy Butler. Man, what a guy!
We're out on Jimmy Butler, right?
Oh yeah, I've been out on him.
Yeah, this is what are we doing here, dude?
Well, you know, he's messing with the wrong guy. Pat Riley will do whatever it takes to. He's not trading him.
Yes, but he's, like you said, not the guy to do it with. Let's get into a little bit of positive, at least some light at the end of the tunnel stuff. Cubs convention last weekend. I think we've talked about this. I have zero intention on ever going to Cubs Con.
This would have been the year, though. Sammy Sosa, that was fun. That was cool. And it's cool to see embracing it.
Cool to see Sammy back. Listen to his interview on the compound. It was kind of funny at points, though, and I love Sammy. I think he should be a Hall of Famer. But when he's like, Ian asked him about, playing like 155 games a year. He's like, oh, yeah, they don't make them like they used to. I'm like, yeah, dude, you had something that helped you recover a lot faster than guys do now.
You say that, but I mean, you look at Ian Happ's stats, dude. He's played over 150 games or around 140 to 150 games a year for the last 4 years.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that it's
I know
funny
what you mean,
to
though.
hear it out of Sammy
And
that be like, oh
it
yeah,
is nice
guys aren't
to hear
built
him.
like I was.
He's got a little remorse. He understands that it was a little childish with how he acted when everything was going on, and maybe it took 21 years to do it, but he's finally in a spot where he kind of understands he was in the wrong. The Cubs were in the wrong a little bit too, because, I mean, how much money they made off of Sammy Sosa when he was playing.
Yes.
I mean, it was crazy for it to take this long, but it's nice to have him back, and a guy who is probably the best Cubs player of all time, if you really think about it.
Yes. At least of our lifetime.
Speaking of that, the Hall of Fame is a joke.
Yes, it is.
We got Billy Wagner. I think he's good, but we got
Billy
guys like
Wagner's the Hall of Famer. I will
they're Hall
argue
of
with you.
Famers. I'm not saying they're not Hall of Famers, but they're not going over the guys like Alex Rodriguez, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, like Mark McGwire. Like, these guys should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes. And the one coward that didn't vote Ichiro in. What are we doing here, dude?
That's crazy. And I didn't realize that he called everyone by their middle name.
That's hilarious.
Because he didn't have a middle name.
That's awesome.
Like,
dude, I love Ichiro's
Jr.
story.
You call him George.
That's incredible. I love that move. Yeah, dude, the Hall, and then did you see someone put out a list of guys who are eligible for the Hall of Fame right now or next year? And if Ryan Braun gets into the Hall of Fame, I'm never going. I don't care. I will protest.
Ben Zobrist was one of the keys to the 2016 World Series. He was a back-to-back MVP in the World Series. He's on the ballot.
Yeah, dude, there was some crazy Shin-Soo Choo.
What I don't understand is how David
Edwin Encarnacion.
How is David Ortiz in the Hall of Fame over some of the other guys?
Yep. I completely agree.
Back to the Cubs. Convention was fun. Got Kyle Tucker since we have 2 of the top 5 right fielders in baseball right now. But
it still doesn't do. I know I'm so excited to have Kyle Tucker, but until there's an extension, I'm going to be not happy about this.
Almost take him. I don't know if they did or did not take him to arbitration, but over $2 million.
Yes.
That's so Cubs.
And the problem that I have with the Cubs convention, besides it just not being something I'm interested in, is Tom Ricketts coming out and saying, "Well, we can't spend like the Dodgers." You're a billionaire, dude. You are a billionaire. Read the room. People have spent.
Say that.
What he shut? Yeah, exactly. Shut up, dude. You just built a billions of dollars poured into Wrigleyville, but you don't say that. I can't stand billionaires crying poor.
Got the Zachary Hotel, which great name, and stuff like that. It's just you're making so much money off of that stuff, and you're really going to say that?
Yeah, let's talk about how much money the Cubs made off of the Winter Classic that the Blackhawks played in.
I don't know what it is with Chicago teams. They don't like to spend money, even though it's third or fourth biggest
market in the country. To the on-field stuff, there's rumors right now of a Ryan Presley trade from the Astros. I like that. Ryan Presley's been very impressive in the bullpen here.
At this point, if he wants to, which I thought that it would have already either not happened or happened by today, but I'm
pretty sure I saw that he declined a trade to Detroit. So
yeah, can't blame him there.
Detroit went to the playoffs last year.
I know, but Chicago, Detroit. But he wants to be a closer. Is what he wants. So maybe they wouldn't let him or whatever. But it's a thing because Adbert, he just signed with the Mets with a minor league contract, which I thought was kind of crazy. I didn't realize that. I mean, if he's going to be able to play this year either.
Well, I was going to say, and also they must have watched film on him last year because he couldn't.
But the Cubs
find a strike zone with 2 hands and a flashlight.
We're not going to go through a bunch of different guys to try and see what we got a closer like we did last year.
Yes, go get and then also
the bullpen wasn't terrible last year. Spots where they were, but by the end of the season, they were pretty good. And
I agree.
You got to get a real closer, and I think he's as close as you're going to get for right now.
It appears that they are one of the finalists for Alex Bregman, which I would love him at the hot corner. That
they are saying though that if they get rid of Presley, that they're going to spend most of their money on Bregman. But
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like anyone wants to stay in Houston anymore.
Yeah. Well, they're in a complete rebuild at this
Kyle
point.
Tucker, he wanted out and stuff like that, and it just seems like a team that has been in the World Series how many times in a row or whatever, not
Yeah.
row, but all those times. It's kind of they're finding out that their run is kind of over.
Yep.
It's awesome to see.
Some updates on non-roster invitees. The Cubs have signed John Birdie, a name if you follow the Yankees at all. I remember him being a utility guy. Trevor Richards to compete for a bullpen spot, and Reese McGuire. Yep, that Reese McGuire. Parking lot Reese McGuire, if you know what I'm talking about. If not, feel free to look it up on your own. But at least some names that you've heard of.
Unreal that he's still in baseball.
Yeah, I kind of hope he doesn't make the roster. Yeah. But also, Zach, the last positive thing, those baby blue uniforms are sick, dude.
Oh, beautiful. And especially the kind of gear that's going with it is also
Yep.
pretty sick, like the
Yep.
coats and stuff like that. That's just typical typical Cubs, as you'd say.
Yep. Those baby blues from the 80s were elite. And to bring baby blue uniforms back, it feels like everybody's got a baby blue uniform now, but I'm okay with that because the Cubs one looks sick. So I don't care if people disagree. I love them.
Maybe being with Pete Alonso, I don't think we're going to get Pete Alonso. I really and truly think Pete Alonso will end up back with the Mets as much as he's not going to. I would love to have Pete Alonso, but we have Michael Bush and Kyle Tucker can also play kind of maybe at first base.
Yep.
We don't need him, but I'm more worried about signing Kyle Tucker to a long-term contract than I am Pete Alonso.
I completely agree. Before we move on, a little White Sox news. Not a ton here, but Mark Burley's getting a statue at the G rate. So, good for him.
On the Hall of Fame ballot this year.
This might not. Sox fans might not like this. I was looking up some Mark Burley stats on our bus ride today. I'll say this: I don't know if people are going to agree or disagree. Mark Burley is not a Hall of Famer.
But the pitching stats have just gone different, though, because there's not a lot of people who have complete game, no hitter. Lot of he also has the perfect game. And the wins, you can almost throw us out the window at this point because no one's getting much over 200 anymore.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, now that I say that,
going though, in the next 5 to 10 years, he'll probably be in.
Yeah, especially one of those like later veterans committee things. But I was just looking up some stats, and for some reason, Baseball Reference has this thing called Hall of Fame statistics, and he did not qualify in any of them. I could be wrong. I might just be looking at the analytics part of it. But I don't know. Cole Hamels was one I saw that I did think should be in the Hall of Fame. He's eligible next year.
Yeah. The statue will be cool. Is he only like the second statue there?
No.
Right?
No, they've got like Louis Aparicio. They've got Minnie Minoso. They've got some of those old timers.
But yeah, it'll be fun. A fun day for White Sox fans next year, and they just haven't made any moves.
Yeah, well, they're not going to.
No. Back to the Cubs though. They will be the first team to go to spring training this year.
Yes, because they play the Dodgers in Korea or Japan. Yeah,
which
Japan.
I think is. The way they do it is just not the best because you come back and you play more spring training games.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I don't get that at all. Why would you not just – I guess you want, like, with the time change and everything, you don't want the players to come back and go right into it, but then why do it?
Exactly.
It would be very cool because of all the Japanese players on both teams.
I will never forget. This had to have been like 2002 maybe. When the Cubs played, I believe it was the Mets in Japan, and my dad waking up, I think one of the days he let me wake up because they started at like 4:00 in the morning. Yeah. I remember waking up for that. That was sick.
At least we're getting the Dodgers out of the way.
Yes, absolutely.
That team is just a cheat code team.
It's so annoying, to be completely honest with you.
I'm also tired of they have like upcoming prospects, and they keep putting that Roki in it. I don't see that as a prospect.
No, he's not.
No, he's played probably longer baseballs than some rookies.
Yes, completely
So,
agree.
but
Completely agree.
we can't say that because Shota was also in the rookie of the year run last year and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like there's got to be a little change in that. But um, before we move on, we got to give a big shout out to our friends over at Connect Roasters Coffee. I promise they have the best coffee around that you are going to find that you can put in your body to start your day. They work with our guy Dom Frederick. They work with Ian Happ. Ian Happ, Gold Glove winner, folks. He's not drinking Folgers. He's drinking Connect Roasters coffee in the morning. All right.
Like I said, he's played 140 to 150 games a year. It's because of the coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you check out their website, connectroasters.com. Follow them on X at Connect Roasters. Get yourself over to Bourbonnais, to the storefront. Check out our friends at Connect Roasters Coffee. So as always, a big shout out to our friends over at Connect Roasters. Let's jump into a little college campus tour. I want to cover a couple things here. First thing is I want to go over your thoughts on the college football playoff. The first year of the 12 team, Ohio State avenges their loss to Michigan. What are your thoughts? I liked it. I'm a big fan.
The only complaint I had was maybe think about the seeding, like a Boise State and stuff like that, maybe being ranked too high. You need to go off of more like the team that won was an 8 seed and the other team was a 7 seed. But other than that, it was fun. I mean,
but you have to incentivize winning your conference championship.
Yeah, and Notre Dame will never do that.
Yep.
But at least it was a good game. It was fun to
I
watch.
agree.
It became a good game. If Notre Dame would have scored more than one time in the first half, would have had a chance. Still don't understand why they kicked the field goal or tried kicking the field goal. The doink is a sound that will haunt me forever. But it worked out as good as it could for the first year. I don't really see where you could say there's any problems with it. But there's already going to be changes for next year and stuff like that. There's always going to be changes, but at some point you kind of like just leave it how it is.
Yeah, this changing it every 5 years is starting to get a little old, but I guess it's 10 years. But I mean, I guess it's not too bad.
The whole thing, but like the transfer portal is just crazy. I mean,
yeah, college football is crazy, dude.
Both of these quarterbacks were on different teams when they first started, and like no one's staying with teams anymore. And like that,
I will.
Carson Beck,
Yeah,
$10 million to go play at Miami. Like, why would he ever go to Why would he ever want to go to NFL?
I think that's in the long run. That's good for college football. I mean, you keep guys
around, but also like that's insane.
Yeah, I will say this. There's the sentiment that the championship doesn't matter to Ohio State because they lost to Michigan is stupid.
Yeah, it's just that's how Michigan fans are.
I get it's a rivalry, but like they won the national championship. And anyone who's like, well, I'm an Ohio State fan and I'd rather beat Michigan than win a national championship. If you think that, you're stupid. Like, I'm sorry.
If I was a Bears fan, if I lost to the Packers twice a year, but I won the Super Bowl, I'd be mad. That's so stupid.
That's idiotic. You would take championships all day, every day. That people saying that I don't understand.
The first team to win the 12-team playoff, like you went through all those games and
dude, you blew Oregon out. You played well in the semifinal. You beat a good Notre Dame. You won the national championship, and there's people that are like, "Well, we lost to Michigan." That's stupid. And Michigan fans are annoying. So
I never want to like have to defend Notre Dame because I'm not a big fan. But like for people to say that they didn't they beat a lot of good teams,
and they lost to the third best team in the country. So
yeah, NIU.
Exo facto.
That's crazy.
Third best team in the country, baby.
Yeah, their only two losses are Ohio State and
Northern Illinois, baby.
That's crazy.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Let's switch over to some college basketball. I don't know how much you've been following, but just looking at the top 25, the SEC and the Big Ten are dominating college basketball this year.
They are, but you just see a lot of these high-ranked teams going down. I mean, Vandy's 2 top 10 teams in the last 2 weekends and stuff like that. It's just college basketball. It's kind of the same way as college basketball or football. The transfer portal has made some of these teams good quickly.
Yes, yes. Very. I mean, my Florida Gators. 18-2, fifth in the country. This team was awful 2 years ago. I mean,
Well,
Mike White got fired
they have
3
a
years
7,
ago.
8 kid who's not even playing.
Yeah, it was redshirting. I mean, it is very much SEC and Big Ten dominated, but like in the same breath, there's really good teams in the Big 12. We just saw Kansas State take down West Virginia. One very good team. Kansas State is very, very average. Houston and Kansas are incredible basketball teams. Played a double overtime game today. ACC still got some really good players. Cooper Flag at Duke. I mean, it's incredible how much talent there is and how dispersed it is. I mean, you saw an 11-9 Minnesota team take down Oregon today. Even the Big East has got some. I mean, UConn's got 6 losses this year.
Maryland just beat Illinois the other night pretty handily.
Yes, and I think it's the parody of college basketball has been incredible this year.
Whatever you want to say about both sports, college football and basketball, the SEC and Big Ten they have so much money that's how it's going to work.
Yep, and it's crazy though because your last 2 champions have come out of not those 2 conferences. It's been the Big East.
And Maddie's not going to want to hear this, but North Carolina's having a down year. When that happens and stuff, it just hurts the ACC.
Yep. I mean, Hubert Davis, that clock is ticking because he has not looked good at North Carolina. So,
no, it's just hard to replace a guy like that. That's why, I mean, John Shire, you got to give him a lot of credit. He has kept the team good after their best coach of all time.
And locally here in the state of Illinois, there's some really good basketball. Obviously, we just talked about Illinois. They're ranked in the country. They get a chance to avenge an early loss to Northwestern. Bradley is receiving votes in the country. Bradley is incredible. Unfortunately, NIU, Southern, UIC, and Western are all awful. Illinois State's pretty mediocre.
Will this be NIU's last year in the MAC?
No, that won't happen for 2 years. It won't happen next year.
They will be changing basketball, though?
They need to change. They suck so bad. I watched the NIU game Thursday.
Missouri Valley wouldn't be bad.
Missouri Valley's the right move, I think. Even the Horizon League, like it's just anything. Not that the MAC is like that good at basketball. NIU just sucks at basketball.
Yeah, it's just tough.
They're awful. And like here's my
DeKalb is a hard place to get basketball players to go.
It is, but it shouldn't be. You're 50 minutes from Chicago. They don't tap into Chicago at all. There's no one on that roster, I think, from Chicago this year. At least last year they had Xavier Amos, who played at Whitney Young, was an all-stater. They had him. He transferred somewhere else. But, like, you have such a hotbed of talent in Chicago. And, I mean, I know this is like before my time, but like NIU women's back in the early 90s, granted, they got one of the top 5 players in the country in EC Hill and went to like 3 straight NCAA tournaments. But like, if you can maybe you're not going to get those 5 stars out of Chicago, but if you can pick up a couple 3 stars out of Chicago, at least you're going to put, butts in the seats and you're going to be competitive. They have 15 guys on the roster, and I believe 13 of them came out of the transfer portal this year.
Yeah,
Rashawn Bruno's time should be up. NIU is terrible.
It's tough because you get a team like NIU. If you have a good player, unfortunately, he's probably going to transfer out.
And that's the thing. He wasn't even that good. Like, You can't keep even mediocre. I'm going off on a tangent here, but I watched their game at Western.
Awesome.
Yes. And for what? 106 people to come watch? Because they're terrible. They have like 4 wins on the year. They're terrible. At least the women's team's got like 8 wins. Yeah, and they're still struggling.
Maybe a change of conference would be good.
I really hope so. I really hope so.
The only thing let's move. It doesn't change recruiting.
Yes, you still got to get people there. You still got to get guys and girls that can play. We got a new team builder. Let's jump into that. This is a very hungry team builder for us here. We are going to build our perfect Italian beef. So first row, we're going to pick if we want it dry, wet, dipped, or extra dipped. We're going with the peppers in the second row. We got sweet peppers, hot peppers, both or none. And then in the bottom is going to be our topping, mozzarella, cheese sauce, cheddar, or no sauce. So what's it going to be for you, Zach? We're going to Portillo's tomorrow. What kind of beef are you getting?
Some people are not going to like mine. I'm gonna go with the wet.
Yep.
I'm going none. I don't like any of that stuff. And if I only get to pick one at the bottom,
I'd give you 2.
I'd go mozzarella and cheese sauce.
I hate this sandwich.
Yeah, not your sandwich.
That's true.
But yeah, I'm not like a spicy kind of guy.
You don't like sweet peppers?
No,
They're not spicy.
I just don't like them.
I'm going dipped. I got to get a little extra. What? Not extra dipped. I just want it dipped. Give me a quick little dunk. All right. I'm going both peppers. I love hot peppers. I love sweet peppers. Give me both of them. And then I am going to go. This is a tough one. Give me mozzarella. Keep it classic. If I have to, if they're out of mozzarella, I'll go some cheese sauce.
Do they do cheddar? I've never seen that.
Yeah, you don't see that super often. That's a little niche there. But yeah, I gotta have both peppers, man. You gotta pepper it up. It's called flavor.
Mustard on there too.
Yeah, you gotta go mustard. And if they got hot mustard, I'm in on that too.
But man, that's just everything. You can't go wrong with the beef.
Cannot. If you're gonna go to Portillo's, you got to add either a Chicago dog or one of their burgers too. Portillo's burgers.
Fries, and then you kind of put a little bit of that cheese sauce on there.
I like where you're going with this. I like this. So let us know what you guys would do with your beefs. We're going to jump into the NFL playoff minute. Obviously, it's been a while since we talked NFL. So thoughts on the playoffs so far?
It's good. I just don't want the Chiefs to win. I know everyone says that, but I'm just tired of them.
I completely agree here. I think
Bills Commanders would be fun.
Bills Commanders, I think, is what like the fun matchup would be. I realistically think that the Bills are going to win this game tomorrow. But I also, that might just be coming from a place that like I don't want the Chiefs to win. The Bills looked really, really good against Denver in that first round. Kind of got down early and then rattled off 31 points in a row. Looked solid last week against a very good Ravens team. I like the Bills. I think this is finally their chance. And the Commanders are just kind of haven't been there, out of sight, out of mind, right? Playing stupid. Take down the Lions, put up 45 points, dude. And I legitimately think they can beat the Eagles.
Defend the Lions, but man, they had a lot of injuries.
Yeah,
so did the Packers.
Super injured. I think the Eagles score over the Rams had a lot to do with the weather. But they
had a chance though at the end there to make it a game.
Absolutely. So I will say, let's do our quick predictions here. Bills win by 2 on a walk-off field goal. They win the game 31-29. And give me the Commanders 39-34 over the Eagles. I think that we're going to see a lot of scoring.
I'm going to go Bills 28, Chiefs 21.
Okay.
And then I think I want the I don't really want the Commanders to win though, because I'm tired of hearing about Jane Daniels. But I don't know, dude.
The Eagles are good.
He's hurt. Say what you want. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is hurt.
Yes.
And I just think that the Commanders are like on like a magical run.
They're just young and dumb and don't know any better. They don't know that they shouldn't be there.
And just love hearing how mad Dan Snyder is.
Yes, that does make me very happy. So you think the Commanders pull it out?
Dude. The guy who shouldn't have been able to even sell his team got to sell his team
and become a billionaire.
And now he's mad because they're good. It's like, dude, you're lucky you were even able to sell that team.
Yeah, you're a scumbag.
But yeah, I just think it'd be just new teams in the Super Bowl. 2 teams who haven't been in a long time. Eagles, Chiefs have been in there. Both have been there in the last few years. So you just want to see that. And I mean, Jaden Daniels is out there just calm as can be.
Yes. He's fun to watch, dude. That whole team's fun to watch.
He's everything that, like, but you can't really say this because It's the same thing. The Bears did it with. Patrick Mahomes is amazing, and we got Mitch Trubisky, but you can't always look at that in the sense of Caleb Williams is still good, but man, he's just out there. That's a good team, though.
Yeah, they're very fun to watch, man. I'm not
just annoying.
I also hate the city of Philadelphia, so at least they're fans anyway.
Yeah, it's just they don't deserve it.
Not my Uncle Troy. I'll give him a pass, but in general, Philly fans. Yeah, they lived in Delaware for 20 years. Sense. Yeah, so
won't hold against them.
It'll be interesting to say the least.
I think both games are going to be really good. I think both teams.
I think that's really all we can ask for, to be completely honest with you.
Both setups are. Chiefs, Bills. You've had the long playoff run against each other and stuff like that, and Commanders, Eagles, a team with a quarterback that's up and coming and a quarterback that everyone wants to be amazing.
Yeah. And we got what we wanted, man.
But I just don't know. This Eagles defense is so good.
Yes, they are. It'll be interesting to see. I think I'm just looking forward to seeing two really good games. I hope that's what we get.
Yeah, because unfortunately, no football the week after, and then one more game, and we're done.
Yeah. It is what it is. So here we go. Let's have some fun tomorrow in the conference championships. Let's wrap things up. As always, we got the TCF top 3, and we're doing bottled waters this week. Big bottled water, guys. Me and Zach love a good bottled water.
Don't drink plastic. I don't really. Come on.
Yeah, don't care. Don't need your microplastics. I got a lot of worse
problems in my life than drinking a bottle of water.
I will say I have kind of transitioned. I drink a lot of water. I drink a gallon a day, but most of the time it's just tap water. I've switched over to these sparkling waters from Walmart that I probably need to cut back a little bit on, because I probably put 3 of these big bottles down a day. But they're flavored and they're absolutely incredible. I won't take those for the draft. We're going just strict, pure water, tasting water. Do you want the first pick or do you want me to go?
I'll go first.
I know it. Just take smart water.
It's smart water. And it's good water.
It is good water. You got me on that train about 5-6 years ago when we went on some road trips. Big smart water fan. That was the correct choice at number 1. I've got the wrap here. I am going to go with Body Armor's water. Body Armor's water is really good too.
Good. I do drink that.
And then I'm going to leave it there because I know you like it, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. God, there's some really good choices here. Because I know you're going to take the one with the weird lid.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
All right. I don't know if this is how you pronounce it, but Essentia. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's got like a black label. It almost looks like a Body Armor logo. That one's really good too. So I'll take that with my second round pick.
I'm gonna go Core Water.
Yeah,
Core Water is very good.
Do you like that because the water's good or because they have a weird cup attached to it?
I like the water.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, but I do. I also get the ones. They also have the ones that have like the like kind of like how old Gatorades used to be.
Yeah. They're good. I'll give you that. And what's your third round pick?
It's hard to.
Oh, I missed one here. Maybe I'll take it. My last pick.
I'm going to Fiji.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I don't think I had ever had Fiji until probably like 5 years ago.
I'm not a fan of the bottle though.
Yeah, it is an odd bottle, but that kind of makes
you can't put it in a cup holder.
Yes, that is the major downfall there. All right, my third round pick. Did I seriously just lose it? I just had it here. Life Water. Water. That one's really good. Comes in a bottle
like a sunray on it.
Yeah, they got a couple different designs that I'm seeing right here. Those are really good. Now, my honorable mention, I'm going to say this, and I know that the internet is going to hate me for this. Aquafina and Dasani are perfectly fine. I like them both.
I don't like the water haters. It's like
It's
this
water.
water's this, this water's that. It's like, dude, especially like you get bottled water.
The Dasani hate on the internet drives me insane. It's fine water. I understand it's from Coca-Cola. I get that. It's perfectly fine. It's got a little bit of a metallic taste. Don't hate that at all. Dasani's fine. Aquafina, perfectly fine with me. Like them both.
You know, I mean, you say you drink tap water. There's nothing.
Yeah, I drink
all
well
bottled water
from,
has to be better than tap water.
No, the tap. Don't you start this nonsense on tap.
I'm just saying in general.
I love tap water.
Yeah.
Little minerals in it. You can see them. They're white.
I didn't grow up on like city water either. I grew up on I don't even know.
Yeah, well water. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I will say this.
I got a bottle of purified drinking water right now. It's just like it's all water.
Yeah. Yep. That's all we need, man.
But it is wild how expensive it can get.
Yeah, like Voss water.
Even like
$4 a bottle. What are we doing?
Water is not cheap.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get them in bulk to make it worth it.
Yeah, if you go to like Costco and stuff, it's much cheaper to buy like a 12-pack than it almost is to buy 2 from the gas station.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Let us know what your guys' favorite are. Thanks for joining us. I know it's been a while since our last episode, but make sure you find us on X at @typical_Chicago, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube for all of our content in video form, wherever you get your podcast. Check us out there. Subscribe, rate, review, 5 stars, send to a friend. Make sure you check us out wherever you get those are at. You can find me on X at typical, or I keep saying the typical _Chicago for mine. It is at Booming TCF. You can find me on X. You can find Zach at Alelia TCF. You can find Maddie at schools_01. This was episode 247. Thanks for coming back in, checking in on us. We will be back here hopefully next week.
Make sure you check out Booming TikToks.
Yep. I'm going to go record today's right now and get tomorrow's all locked and ready to go. So check us out on TikTok. This is episode 247 of Typical Chicago Fans. We love you all.
Peace.